With 32 million population, a land size of over 581,800 square kilometers, with a country bigger than Japan and South Korea combined, and endowed with nickel, cobalt, graphite, gold, bauxite, massive forest with all manner of timber and wildlife, and a long coastal line 360 degrees surrounding the country, and with the most variety of aqua life, and yet you cannot still produce electricity for the people. Madagascar, what exactly is wrong with you? 80% of the people in your country are described as living below the poverty line of $2.15 per day. In fact, your country is described by every relevant research platform as a poor country. Even ChatGPT confirms you are considered one of the poorest countries in the world. Why? Do you have a president, Madagascar? Have you had a leader in the last 50 years, Madagascar? Is there a government in your country? Ladies and gentlemen, a country like Madagascar has no business being poor if not for bad leadership, if not for ignorant people in places of authority who do not know what to do with the authority given them. How does an island country like this be poor? I can never understand how we black Africans cannot develop, and so are the Malagasy youth. 5 days ago, the youth of Madagascar embarked on a street protest, which has right now turned violent and into looting over the lack of stable electricity and water supply. They are tired of days of electricity outages for a country surrounded by sea and many waters. How does it make sense when they are unable to produce stable electricity? Ladies and gentlemen, so the people went on the streets in their fury and demanded for the most basic things, for stable electricity and water supply. And so far, 22 people are already declared dead. And here are the excerpts of their protests. Let's take a quick look at it.
Now, Saturday, Santa, what for time 10 on the
Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Cyrus and this is Tuntum Network in Accra, Ghana. Do us a favor if today is your first time. I encourage you to subscribe and click on the bell for more of my videos. Thank you so much. Now, some decades ago, I had a conversation with a successful foreign businessman in Ghana. I asked for his opinion on why black African leadership and the people don't seem to figure out smart ways of meeting our challenges. And he said this. He said, so long as a person don't have access to the basic fundamental necessities for life, that person will struggle to make progress. He explained that apart from our poor choices of people who lead our countries, water, electricity, food, and a place to lay our heads is the first and fundamental thing every person needs in order to have a mental aptitude to think and plan of great things. And in the absence of these things, a person is most likely not going to be able to achieve as much as he or she could. 10 years down the line, ladies and gentlemen, I know that statement was the pure fact. And that's how African leaders have kept African youth from reaching our best. When you wake up in the morning, let me ask you, on an empty stomach, and all you can think is food because you are hungry, how do you find the mind to reason on things to do? Where is the mind to think when you cannot have access to electricity, ladies and gentlemen? When electricity is connectivity in this modern era. When you cannot run your small business because the power was off all day and couldn't sleep at night also because the rooms were too hot. I've experienced this in Ghana, so I can share my opinion on it. How do you think of great things in this circumstance, ladies and gentlemen? Where is the electricity, Mr. President of Madagascar? Where is the stable electricity? Why can't you produce stable electricity every day in a week, 365 days in a year in 2025? What stops these people in authority in Africa from permanently fixing these things? Is it rocket science to produce electricity in 2025, ladies and gentlemen? Is it? Between 45 to 48% of sub-Saharan African homes do not have access to electricity. Let that sink in. Millions of black Africans don't have access to electricity supply even in 2025. This is the madness. And in response to the youth protest, the president of Madagascar decided to dissolve his government. This happened just yesterday, 29 September, and many suspect what happened in Kenya could happen in Madagascar. The president took office 6 years ago at age 45, and so much was expected of him. But since that time, poverty levels haven't changed. Electricity and water supply problems haven't changed. And so is the reputation of their country, being known as a poor country. How do you live in a country surrounded by water and be crying for water? These crazy types of situations are sometimes what makes Africa so hard to live. Many Africans in 2025 are paid $50 in a month as a monthly salary. The vast majority of African youth who work in factories and sometimes in state enterprises are paid just about $150 per month. In the face of global inflation and rising costs of healthcare and of parenting, what do you do with that money when you are a married man with kids? What do you do when your kids have to go to school and God forbid any falls ill? Ladies and gentlemen, these issues are what makes young people leave their homes to the streets to voice out their displeasure of the country's management. Every day we see and we hear of youth protests from one African country to the other, and the reasons are the same. They are not asking for anything extraordinary, the basic things. Yet governments won't learn and amend their ways. Ladies and gentlemen, when will water and electricity and roads will not be a problem in Africa? The president of Madagascar has dissolved this government for fear of what the youth can do should things go south, like the youth in Nepal did recently. But I want to ask him this. In the last 6 years, what has he been up to? Did the power outages just begin or not, ladies and gentlemen? Or has it been persistent? They will never take the blame. They are quick to shift blames and make themselves look innocent. What is he going to do different or next now the government is dissolved? Will that make the Malagasy youth calm down? Will new appointees bring the needed change, ladies and gentlemen? I have never and will never understand the mindset of African leaders when it comes to development. It's either they don't have the ideas to solve problems or they don't want to solve them. And until they do, we must rise and pursue what is rightfully ours. Therefore, I urge the youth of Madagascar to push until their electricity and water supply is resolved. May the good Lord help us all. I'll see you in the next one. Be sure to subscribe and click on the bell for more of my videos. I'm Cyrus and I'm out. It's bye-bye for now.